This video, which we filmed around 20 years ago, is all about making, sighting and aging sculpture. First off, I visit Hannah Peschar in her sculpture garden. Then we go to Doctor Andy Cox, who makes his own. And finally, I have a go at making some too. Now, this is the only bit of sculpture I've got in my garden, and I'm very attached to it. It was made by my late Aunt Pat. She was married to David Austin, the late David Austin, the rose breeder, and she made it, and it's of my father. And what it is, it's him pulling himself up by his bootstraps, which I have to say he did very successfully. Hope you enjoy the video. Statues and sculpture are a great way of transforming the landscape and creating that feeling of grandeur. You just have to take a look around the heart of London and see the most instantly recognisable pieces in the world. In your own garden, you can still achieve a great effect without having to be too elaborate. There are many great sculpture gardens around and you get some good inspiration, but you must take time before you buy and give it lots of thought. Statues are a very good way to lead the eye where it might not normally go, whether you use one statue or a series of statues. I think the trick is to raise the statues up to eye level or near eye level. People often do buy mass-produced sculptures and they look pretty raw when they bring them home to start with, and I'm always being asked how you actually age them up. And I find a really good, quick way is using acrylic paints. And you need to wash the item all over with water and then just paint it with the paints very watered down. And I find green sap, yellow ochre and brown umber are great colours. Another method is to use rhubarb leaves or whatever leaves you've got a lot of and just rub them over the item, and that lovely natural green colour comes off very quick and easy. A slow method is to use yoghurt, and you paint it all over with yoghurt and then put it in a shady place, ideally under the drip of a tree, and you'll find that the mosses and lichens develop much quicker there. Nickability can be a big problem today, so if you've got a valuable statue, do be very careful. Check your insurance policy and see if it does cover you for things outside in the garden. People often bolt statues through to concrete plinths, but if it's very valuable, thieves will just come and saw through the bolts. So maybe, in that case, you should consider wiring it up to an alarm system.
One lady with an unrivalled interest in garden statuary is Hannah Peschar. In her 10-acre garden in Ockley, Surrey, she's gathered together over 100 contemporary sculptures made by artists across the UK.
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Bunny went to meet her to take a look around her remarkable garden and find out where the idea for it came from.
Hannah, this is an amazing garden here. What inspired you to start it all up?
Well, by just going to some garden centres and looking at sculpture there, because this place is so big, it needed some punctuation in the place, and I didn't find anything. So I went to some art colleges and spoke to heads of sculpture departments, and they showed me work of students or ex-students, and I thought this work is screaming to go outside.
And what sort of people actually come and buy the sculpture?
Oh, all sorts of people, from teachers to captains of industry. They fall in love with a piece and buy something beautiful instead of a new car or a kitchen.
Much better investment. They can enjoy it all their life.
Yes.
Far better value. Come and show me some of your favourite pieces.
Okay. It's a bit difficult to show you a few favourites because I've got over 100 pieces in the garden and in all kind of materials. Some materials people don't think if you can use them outside. And for instance, I've got some great water features in the garden.
Lovely.
One that spouts water and it just goes like this, and then they sway. And you add, of course, a third very important dimension when you play with water. Movement and the sound, of course.
I love these copper things. They look so integrated, don't they, with the patencies below?
Yeah, and there's
part of
movement.
it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Now, this is made from copper.
Very nice. With a piece like this, Hannah, I'm not really sure whether I love it or hate it.
Well done. At least there's something happening. You like it or you don't. The worst thing that can happen is when people pass by and don't notice it.
Don't notice it. Couldn't possibly happen on this, surely.
You'll be surprised.
Don't believe it.
And Bunny, what do you think of this?
Wow, what a whopper.
Isn't it? Yeah.
My favourite material, I do love oak. And this, beautifully carved, isn't it?
Yes, and do you know how it's been carved? I tell you, it's quite amazing. The sculptor who made this is called Walter Bailey, and he only works in oak. And and that's very important, he only works with a chainsaw. I've seen him work many, many times. They have such control over this chainsaw, apart from the fact that it's a very sexy instrument. It goes just
Big and powerful.
and exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to make a mistake, and he doesn't use any other tool.
And the colour, it's not the normal colour I think of as green oak.
No, it's been scorched.
So it's rather like when you make a creme brulee, you know, with one of those little blowtorches.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
But also for oak barrels for planting.
Yes, yes.
It's great. You do that on the inside and then
Yep.
it protects them against
Yes.
rotting.
Yes.
The sighting of your sculptures, I think, are one of the reasons that really make it stand out. This oak, for instance, I mean, it's sited here amongst fellow big oak trees and it looks wonderful. They're sort of all incorporated into the landscape, aren't they?
Oh, yes, it's very important to put it in a place where it is valued by its surrounding, and the other way around as well. There should be a strong link between the landscape and the art. And that's what I'm trying to do here.
A couple of top tips for siting sculpture.
Well, for instance, don't put it on the most obvious place, like the middle of the lawn, because that's really boring. But if you want to enjoy a sculpture all year round and it's cold in the winter, you don't go that often in the garden, place it somewhere where you can see it from your kitchen window.
Oh, nice idea. So you can really enjoy it.
Yes.
How much would a piece like this set me back?
Set me back. It would give you a lot of pleasure to spend £20,000 on this.
20,000?
Yes.
So if I didn't have 20,000, what could I get something for a little less here?
Of course you can. A lot less as well. And you can pay in installments.
Oh, right. Okay. It's a great place to come, isn't it, for inspiration, whatever your budget.
Well, maybe I can tempt you.
But here in this Warwickshire garden is proof that you don't have to spend a fortune to create a stunning effect. Dr. Andy Cox creates his own sculpture using materials he's found lying around the garden.
I think that this is my favourite piece.
Magnificent. Very nice.
Well, it was an old cherry tree that we had planted, and after 25 years it died. I was very sad cutting it down, and rather than just log it up and put it on the bonfire, I decided I ought to try and do something with it. I saw a picture of St. Fiacre, the patron saint of gardeners, in a book on medieval gardens, and decided to buy myself 2 or 3 chisels and see what I could do with it.
Fantastic.
If I'd failed, it didn't matter. I could always put it back on the bonfire.
The detail is wonderful, isn't it? All those lovely buttons there and the hands. How long did it take you?
Well, just sort of half an hour here and there. When I should be doing the washing up, I would potter into the garage and get out of the way and do a little bit more. And it probably took getting on 2 years.
2 years worth of washing up, you missed. Well, I think it was worth it, wasn't it? I'm sure your wife was very pleased in the end.
There was another trunk of a tree that I chopped down and carved into it the face of a green man. And also there's a long piece of ivy, and I've managed to make it to look like a snake curling around the trunk of an old willow tree.
The cost of your sculpture is obviously pretty minimal, but it's just your time and your effort. But at the end of the day, you've got something which to me looks worth hundreds of pounds.
Well, we enjoy it.
Very nice indeed. Today, we're going to try something different. You've got some lovely birch logs. And how do you think if we mix them with chains and we make some strange sculpture?
That sounds great fun.
It might be very strange. It might be quite
Yes.
fun.
Well, we never know how things are going to work out until you've tried.
And then it's finding a good place so we sight it to its best.
That's right.
Great, let's go for it. So it looks a bit heavy there.
Just very.
Using a birch log as the body, Bunny designed a statue of a man with limbs made of chain. To make the chain rigid, she called in the help of a welder, who also made up some chain balls.
These shades are fantastic, aren't they?
They came zinc plated, and then we washed off the zinc with uric acid.
Oh, like for cleaning up brickwork,
Yeah,
you need
that's
to
right,
get
yeah.
nice and dilute.
Yeah.
And then you get this beautiful orangey colour.
Yeah.
The man's body, very nice.
Well, this was a silver birch that we took out only a fortnight ago. In actual fact, it is still very full of sap. And when it dries out, there will be cracks. But this doesn't, I don't think this matters at all
This
in
is
sculptures.
character.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, I think so. So we've got a nice selection of balls, and then we've got bits of arms and legs and all different members. Do you reckon we're going to get them together into a nice dynamic shape?
Yeah.
No,
I'll see what we can do. There's a little bit to do.
Then we'll just have the hair flying out.
Yeah.
These are great balls, aren't they? This metal framework is good, but if you didn't have a welder, you could just tie these on with a wire. Yeah.
With strong wire, that's right.
I think I might do that at home. If it was the other way, I'd be fine.
Just go that way a bit. And let's start the tape. Right over here.
You see when you're going to collapse.
Just roll there.
Just about there.
Okay.
Should we move that one round a bit? Do you think
Right.
a bit more towards him so they sort of curve round? How does he look? Haven't
That's
we done
brilliant.
well?
That's really good for me.
What would you call it? Circus boy and balls, or
Yes, or chainman, I think, has been suggested.
yes.
Possibility.
But he definitely, you can tell he's cartwheeling, can't you? That hair gives him that
Yes,
sort of
yeah.
movement.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Nice.
We managed to knock him up in
That's
the
right.
time, you know. I think it's pretty
Yes,
good.
quite incredible.
If you saw it in the Tate with
That's
a
right.
big price tag, you wouldn't think it was mad, would you?
No.
No, I wouldn't.